Montez Ford put up a very telling Instagram post on Friday. There it is. He put this up. This is just a piece of it. I'll get the rest of it. This was to promote this match. And by the way, if you want to know the state of tag team wrestling that I talked about, look at this picture. Put it up one more time, Don. Who has been on any kind of roll of these 6 teams? And by the way, this is absolutely not a knock on any of these guys. Pretty Deadly is a comedy act that just tries to talk to Nick Aldis all the time. They're good workers. They should be in a bigger spot. The Good Brothers bounce around. They lost in NXT recently. I'll get to Montez and Dawkins in a second. Angel and Humberto have had this backstage feud, basically, with Apollo Crews and Corbin, who have been thrown together. At least Corbin deserves more than that, and I think, Apollo's bounced around enough. And then you have the former Guerrillas of Destiny, who haven't really even tagged together. Think about that, because they haven't. Actually, I'd love to know that answer. Have they, even on house shows, have they tagged? This is where I go to Trusty Cage match here and try to get this answer very quickly for us. But that tells you a lot. Like, you look there and you go, those are the top contenders for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, basically. How many times have you seen those teams wrestle that often? I mean, seriously. I'll get to the actual, active team on there in a second. All right, let's see. Anybody have guesses? I'd love to know. This is great stuff here for me that I should have looked up beforehand. All right. How many times have the former Gorilla of Destiny tagged? As a 2-man team, they beat the Profits on May 31st. Man, they've been there that long already. They were in a 6-man tag on SmackDown at the beginning of June. They've worked 1, 2, 3 6-man tags with Solo in the month of July. And KO and Sammy beat them to end the Japan tour 2 days ago. They've had one match on television as a tag team. And then they won the gauntlet. That is the state of tag team wrestling. It's not good. Will said, I think they're dropping the ball. I did a whole thing about this also from, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago about how tag team wrestling is friggin' dead right now. And it's not just in WWE. It ain't pretty right now in AEW either. The Bucks and the Acclaim will try. It's not the staple that it used to be of AEW. And I'm not talking about, these 2 main eventers tag together, and I know they do 6-mans and they do 8-man, and that's fine. I'm talking about straight up 2-on-2 tag team wrestling. It doesn't mean as much. Don, put that Tez thing up again if you could, please, and I'll read the rest of it. So Tez put this up ahead, and leave it up for a sec. I'll tell you when to take it down. Tez put this up. All right, tape show. He put this up on Friday. Tape show. He knows he's losing. I appreciate this is the anti-boo-boo face, which, by the way, Nick Nemeth the other day confirmed is a real thing. And by that is, if you come out and it looks like you're losing because the expression on your face, no one should know that. So this is Montez hyping up a match. He knows he didn't win because it was taped. So there's the whole post. Tired of having company around that don't care. Tired of the world not knowing who you are. Tired of every version of the bloodline. I'm reading the rest of this because it gets cut off. Tired of not being a champion. We lost a lot this year from family members and even up to this week, our own leader. Straight up telling you, Bobby Lashley. At least now, Montez acknowledging it, gone. But we're not, and he says, effing losing tonight. They did. So tonight on God, I wake up, you wake up, and the world to know our names once again. We are the MF and Street Profits, and we will be your next WWE Tag Team Champions. Because I wasn't born to be tired. I was born to win. Test. Then they lose. You can take it down now, though. Then they lose. If it's as simple as I just said, don't get worked. by MVP saying what he said, just in case. That dude is trying to hype up a match he ain't going to win. That dude, and once again, I feel Tez completely. There's a lot of acknowledgement of what's going on. And if you don't think that hasn't heard for probably 2 years how much the company has dropped the ball on not making him a single star, believe me, one thing I will tell you, that the majority of people, even though some of them are millionaires and are on top of the world, unless they never look at their phone, they know what's going on. They read the reports. They don't miss anything. The amount of people from WWE have been like, hey, keep it up. I love watching your stuff. I love to hear it from you. They're paying attention. It's not a me thing. If you're tagged in enough stuff, whether it's credible, whether it's somebody trying to get clicks, they see it. Tez is seeing it. Dawkins is seeing it. I guarantee that. How could they not be frustrated? Here's a random tag you get thrown in. Here's a backstage. Listen. I said this the other day on Post Wrestling. I'll say it. You're bitter. No, I'm just telling you my story. And as much as I loved working there, I didn't want it to end. And yeah, you do get frustrated at times because you creatively, run into stuff that's annoying or you don't get stuff. I was always doing something. I never had a reason to complain working there. The creative wasn't always good. I had to talk through some garbage, but my job was to talk about professional wrestling for a living and get paid very well by that company to do so. But I was always doing something. You keep doing the same thing over and over again and you're not creatively fulfilled, you can collect that check. You could provide for your family. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with not getting used and resting your body or, hey, we need you to work this house show this weekend, but that's it. Or, hey, can you go down to NXT? It's only a drive. Yeah, sure. You can feel that way. And being on every week and all that, sure, doesn't mean it goes anywhere. Listen to the crowd reaction or lack thereof for the Street Profits right now. That's got to be frustrating. That used to be a thing. Here come the Profits. I recently talked about how, Enzo and Cass, when they were getting hot, a perfect opening show act. Saw them multiple times open up NXT house shows. People love it. The Profits have that same kind of energy. But it seems to have dissipated amongst the fans because they're not going anywhere. And all the stuff with Bobby, just let's turn them heel. You want to turn Montez Ford heel and they beat up Rey Mysterio and it didn't work. It didn't work. They beat up a beloved babyface and it didn't work. And then they just kind of flounce. I guess they're babyface. We'll put them up against Final Testament because they're. It's hard to get creatively excited when your creative sucks and it's just going in a circle, in a vicious, boring cycle. So if he's hyping up the match, okay. If there's a tinge of realism to what he was saying, I get that too. God, it's not like they're lighting the world on fire with single stars on SmackDown right now. They're not. And even if they were, my goodness, you don't let that one go to waste. Dawkins could also, I've said this plenty of times, they can both be singles and still be friends. That's a thing. It's mind-boggling when they have to break up a tag team. No, you don't. So I read that from Tez, and I think there's a level. He's going to write that knowing what people will react and how they'll react. He knows what he's doing. He's been around. And good. If he got any kind of juice behind that crappy put-together match, good for him. On a tape show, it was a solid match. if he got any kind of interest in that match, which is not exactly loaded with, big stars, and I say that in terms of how they've been perceived, how they've been presented as of late. There's a lot of great wrestlers in that match. But if I look at that and I go, all right, it's bloodlines to lose. It was two teams that were going to win that thing. Either the Profits against DIY, which didn't make sense, or the Bloodline against DIY, which we're getting this Friday. It was the opposite of having a boo-boo face. He could have said nothing. He could have said, hey, we're in this match. He put some effort in. Dawkins, posted about it also. It's doing your job. But, man, I don't know how much passion can be behind that kind of stuff. Those guys deserve better, and they're leaving a lot of money on the table by not doing more with them. And they're leaving a significant amount of money on the table by not making Montez Ford a major single star. He's put in the work to get bigger. He has made every appearance you could ask of him on behalf of the company. He was there when TKO rang the bell on the New York Stock Exchange. Why wouldn't you want him and Bianca front and center? Outstanding representatives of the company. And yet, you don't do more with that guy. That's something's getting lost in translation there. Because there's obviously people that know, hey, we could put him and Bianca out there to represent the company. We could send them to UFC events. We can send them to a major event like that. Bianca's already established. Bianca has main event at WrestleMania. Bianca has an unreal resume already. If you see that much in Montez as a face of the company in that way, then why aren't you pushing him as such? How many mid-carders do you see get that kind of presentation on a regular basis? Sure, you could have Pretty Deadly go through the first pitch out at a Mets game. Or you could have people make little appearances here and there. I'm talking Montez is out there front and center a lot. They gave them a Hulu show. You see a lot of him, and yet you don't see enough of him as a single star in the ring. And that is mind-boggling to me. And hell, you know what? What's Drew and Punk doing right now? They're playing off of real-life stuff. I just gave you the backdrop to the Montez push. You know what I'd love to come to really launch that? And I don't, who knows? Maybe this is a post-SummerSlam thing, and maybe I'm also just hoping. That's a guy I want to see come out with no fanfare, with no music, with a mic, and to talk about the things I just said. What do I got to do? Not a heel promo, because he shouldn't be. Not a heel, but to come out, and if he came out without the fanfare, people would take notice right away. Corey and Wade. What's Montez Ford doing out here? He was supposed to be here tonight. What's going on with him? What? And he gets in there, and he talks about all that. Talks about his great tag team run. Talks about how it's great to be alongside his brother in life, in wrestling, whatever, in Angelo. No issues with him. How proud he is of his wife. How he gets to stand by her side. And how he's done everything to come. You go all that and go, when's my chance? I got one chance. I got an elimination chamber. You let me fight Roman Reigns once. You let me fight Seth Rollins once. What else do I have to do? I don't care about anybody else. Everybody makes their own path. I'm not mad at people making their own path, but I've been passed over enough. What do I have? That is a conversation that, honestly, if you really want to make it work, he skips over Nick Aldis and he walks right back into Triple H's face and says something. Because when you use the GMs like you do, whether it's Pierce on Raw, or all this on SmackDown. Those are your regulars. Everybody can go to them. Everybody can talk to them. But if Montez is serious enough you have him on camera go right to Triple H. You have him cut that promo, walk out the ring. You do that follow shot that everybody's, oh my goodness, it's amazing that they follow a guy. Yes, it looks good. It happens in a lot of places. They've changed up cinematography in a good way. You follow him right through that curtain. You follow him right in the Triple H face. What else can I say to you? What else can I do? What do I have to do? You hear those people. You see social media. Everybody's talking, and you play into that. You make it real. And I guarantee that will work. I guarantee a singles push of any kind will work for Montez. Now, he's got to go back it up in the ring. I get that. But I believe in him. And when you have the kind of crowd reaction that he has gotten, whether they've been booked well, it's dropped off a little bit because they're just running in circles. But I think Montez has something very big in him, and it's weird. It's not me picking out. So I like this guy. Who doesn't think that? Who doesn't think that guy can be a massive star? Hey, this is Matt Camp. Thanks for checking out one of our recent clips from the Wrestling Mat. Why is someone so close to The Rock kind of throwing Cody under the bus?
Yeah, a lot of people won't engage with Jim Cornette. I did, just because I have a mark for Jim Cornette. And
Please subscribe right now. Hit the like and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. And I think you should listen to your TV partners. Let me tell you about WWE and a little insight. More subscribers means more content. And make sure you follow us on social media at WrestlingMat23 on both Twitter and Instagram.